Hello, I'm APX Toycat, and as of 1.20, you need to find a bastion in order to get netherite, because you'll need this template, which is only found in the chest there. And so here's the question, how do you find a bastion? Well, I could give you the nerdy answer, which is, well, actually, you can't find a bastion, you can only find a bastion remnants. However, I've actually just run out of gilded blackstone, and so I'm going to be going to a bastion anyway. Do you want to see how we're going to do it? Well, let's do that today, because the simple answer is if you want to find a bastion, use the /locate command if you have cheats turned on, or use chunk base if you don't. But I'm going to assume that you're here because you actually want to find it using the in-game tools available, and so, cheating or not, I'm going to be showing you the simple method that I use that is actually real, and indeed, rather than using my elytra to make it as easy as possible, I'm going to assume that if you don't have netherite, maybe you also don't have the elytra. So let's go to step 1, which is getting into the nether. Did you know you can use one of these portals with the purple and it takes you to a whole new dimension? Step 2 is to go to the edge of your explored nether. That is to say, go to a part of your nether you haven't explored before. This is particularly important if you loaded up any of your nether before 2020 when bastions were added, but even if you didn't, think about it this way, you're not going to find anything new in a place you've already explored, and so that's what you're going to need to do. As it turns out, this is the edge of my explored nether in my world. I've been deliberately not going super far, and so now you know what to do for step 2, and I would say that step 3 is going to be a really easy one. It's to go in a straight line. Although, before you do this, you might want to do step 3A, which is preparing for this journey, because there are lots of threats in the nether. We've already seen, that we've got a magma cube, a ghast, a bunch of zombie piglins, and we're going to see regular piglins as well, which is why a little bit of prep goes a long way. I'm not saying you need full enchanted netherite. In fact, that would be impossible, which is why I've removed most of my netherite gear. But what I will say is a single piece of gold armor, this wasn't a gold chest plate by coincidence, a single piece of gold armor goes a far way. I would recommend the helmet, because it's the least impactful on your gear, and so that's what I'm going to put on right here. These chamois boots, on the other hand, they're solely so I look a little bit stylish, and I can show you that you really don't need the maxed out armor gear to be able to withstand stuff here, but you probably are going to want good stuff. So going back to part 3 here, or step 3, we're going to be going in a straight line, and this is the simplest way to find anything in Minecraft. It's the easiest way to not mess stuff up. It's the reason that branch mining is so simple when you just do it in a straight line. People find simple instructions easy, and if you try to tell anyone about this complicated way that bastions generate, because they do have certain areas they won't generate in, it's more complicated than just saying, if you go in a straight line, sometimes you'll be in the red zones, but you'll quickly get past it and back into a green. And so the only thing I will say is when you're going in a straight line, make sure your Y coordinates don't get too high above, say, Y90. If you're all the way up here, you might, there could be that down below this cave, there is a bastion hanging out down there that I just can't see because I'm above it. So make sure your Y coordinates are between 40 and 90, because they try to generate at the same Y layer regardless of what terrain is around them, meaning you genuinely can find them in caves here. So given that my straight line technique has failed, it's led me into a cave I can't go into, then what you want to do is just go a little bit to the right and see where that takes you. If that doesn't work, go a little bit more to the... Whoa! It looks like we found a nether fortress. Seems like I should really retitle this video, The Real Way to Find a Nether Fortress. But no, yeah, this is a really simple technique. It will work in survival. Go in a straight line, and when the straight line doesn't work, or when there's a ghast launching you off that straight line, then instead go a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. And as long as you're between about Y40 and Y90, or 50 and 70 might be more preferable, but make sure that you're staying above the lava lake and below this nether ceiling, and you'll be just fine. So here we are walking to the left until we can get straight forwards again, and it looks like we can. Perfect. And so, yeah, the gold is going to keep us safe from piglins, the other armor is going to keep us safe from everything else, and as long as you've got some number of basic tools on you, some amount of food, and indeed some block for bridging across the nether, you'll do just great. If you haven't ever seen this, by the way, bridging is so essential, but it really helps to not be using a ghast destroyable block, so wood can be lit on fire, whereas, for example, stone and deep slate cannot. That means that if you want to bridge across a gap, as long as you're bridging fairly quickly, which is very much recommended when there are fireballs coming your way, then it can't be destroyed by a ghast, which is handy. I also would give you the handy tip, which is don't be too scared of minor fools. Genuinely, I might cause more risk to myself if a ghast will attack me while I'm up here. Sometimes you've got to take medium fools in the nether to be able to keep going forwards, and a heart and a half of damage guaranteed is much better than a potential 10 hearts that I don't know about. And so yeah, we just keep going in a straight line, in the same rough direction for as long as we humanly can, and this is really, really easy because it makes it easy to know where you've been, easy to know where you're going, and after a while it makes it easy to just come home and try another straight line somewhere else instead. Whereas if we tried to go a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, it'd be hard to explore, maps don't work in the Nether anyway, and you also might just try to avoid certain areas, which isn't necessarily ideal. Oh yeah, we've got a real rough example of what to do here. Our basalt deltas here does just end, and then what are we going to do? The answer is not looking too good, but we'll instead just go up here and see if that takes me somewhere. Because ultimately, the Nether is one of the hardest places to explore. It's like a really difficult place to traverse, but most of what you really need to know about being here is that, you know, it's cavey and it's rocky, but that's why you need to have some guiding direction. If you start getting lost and bogged down and trying to look for landmarks, you're just not going to find any, and you will find yourself deaf very quickly. By the way, some people like bringing bows to help out with the ghasts, but genuinely I find that, at least on Bedrock, where I play, you can generally rely on them being gone sooner rather than later, as long as you have a nice clear path in front of you, which I do not. So as soon as I get behind this mountain here, he's gone, and he might genuinely just despawn before anything else happens. And so we bridge across. You might not want to do that. You might prefer going around in a case like this. But yeah, as you can see, it really is simple to go in a straight line. I've gone 500 blocks now and not found a bastion. You might be saying to yourself, when should I turn back? And theoretically, it's just like a diamond mine. When you want to go back, is when you fear that you've gone too far, and you won't make it back very easily. What are you up to? You ever seen a cast do that before? It felt like he was actively avoiding me because he knew that would happen. Oh, tears, nice. So yeah, oh, that's a fortress. No, that's a bastion, right? Wow, just like that, you can see the power of the straight line. It took me 600 blocks, which is technically longer than it should take. Every 400 blocks in every direction. If you search in this whole green area from this map earlier, you're technically always going to find a fortress or a bastion, if one can generate. And so it took me 600 blocks, but it was a straight line, and now I know the direction home is also very easy because it's a straight line. Ah! I was pointing, I wasn't looking at you. It's very different, trust me. Anyway, I'd recommend, before going into one of these places, that you really, really, really check on your surroundings, basically. The only, you might say to yourself, like, well, it's only piglins in there, what's the real fear? And the answer is that piglins don't care about you if you wear gold. You're one of them, you're cool, but piglin brutes, they don't like anyone. And so, before you ever get anywhere close to the structure, you want to make sure that you have not only full health, but also I would recommend a hidey hole of some form. Piglin brutes have the exact same hitbox as you, but they can't do parkour, which might be more complicated than you're looking for. But I would even just say, like, okay, so that means that when you're coming into this structure, why not take an area like this and make it so there's only one way in and one way out, and it can be blocked by a single block. That means that if I see a brute, I hope that we find one nearby, but let's imagine this guy is a brute, then I could just run out. Oh, this is... I'm showing the weakness of my strategy here. But that way, if I did find a piglin brute, I could just walk out and block this single exit up. This is what I personally do. You're welcome to come up with your own strategies. Use doors if you want to. Piglins won't break those down. But piglins will use doors. What you will find in a bastion is lots of... Are you in trouble? Do you like being there? Okay, I'll accept whatever you're up to. But here you can see that the bastion is a scary place, and what makes it really interesting is there's actually 4 types of bastions. Any of the bastion types should get you your smithing template that you might be here for, and indeed, for my purposes, I'm hoping that I should be able to find some broth here too. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say some broth? I meant some gilded blackstone, and I'm not sure how that came out as broth. But yeah, this is a bastion. I think it's the bridge bastion, based on how this looks, which means if I come all the way back out here, I think I must have missed it, but there should be a bunch of gold. Let's see if that is true. Yeah, up there's going to be the big gold pile. So this is the best bastion in Minecraft if you're looking just for solid gold. And for speedrunners, that's really handy. I'm going to assume that you're not speedrunning if you're watching this guide, but, you know, fair play to you if you are. And so all we're going to do is get ourselves up there, easy peasy. And then look at this. All of this gold is now mine. Wonderful stuff. But yeah, if you're looking for gilded blackstone or you're looking for smithing templates, you'll want to find chests or you want to find these blocks around the place. Pro tip, by the way, if you are in a world where you are not going to go exploring infinitely, I would recommend make sure you get a silk touch pickaxe before mining any gilded blackstone. Also, there are the brutes. As you can see, he's wearing black. That means he's the boss, and that means that he will kill me on sight. So I'm not going to let him. Also, I think that piglins will get mad at me for mining their gilded blackstone. It's been a while since I've tried this, though, so... Yep, there you can see. Gets a little bit mad. He's not happy with what's going on right now. But for the most part, he's the only one around. So just make sure that you've got an easy way out, an escape route, and even when something like this happens, you'll be fine. You can literally even just make yourself a pillar up, and outside of the crossbow dudes, they can't get you. It's honestly, the solution to most things in Minecraft is blocks. This is my grand thesis for how to make the game easy. And so if you if you want to have a good time doing anything, then all you need is blocks. And so speaking of blocks, let's go mine some right now. Here's a block for me, and here's another block for me, although we'll make it a bit safer first, because I don't want lava to burn it. Oof, very almost happened anyway. And so yeah, you've got a few options as to what you do in this place. I think some people like the strategy of going and kill all the piglins. This is very time-consuming and risky. Combat in the Nether is not the ideal place to be having a good time like that. And so what I recommend instead doing is bringing a bucket with you and just burning the dudes on sight. I have a bucket with me, but it's in a shulker box because I'm weird. So this is a much slower alternative because, fun fact, when you burn piglins, they don't see it as you actually harming them. And so if you want to get rid of piglins, you can burn them alive. I'm just going to be using my sword to show you that I'm just making this easy on myself. But yeah, pro tip, if you are surrounded by piglins, don't open any chests. They will hurt you. Do not, whatever you do, mine any gold blocks. They will hurt you. And do not, even if you are being attacked, fight back. They will hurt you. Which, you know, it feels a bit rude. It feels like self-defense should be allowed. But in piglin logic, it is not. So here you can see I've now got myself 5 gilded blackstone, which as far as I'm concerned is like plenty. More than I'll ever need. Except no, I'm thinking back to my mushroom now. It needs at least another dozen. So at this point, I guess we could go for looking around the rest of the structure. If you do happen to end up in a bridge bastion like me, as you can see, there is a... Ooh, hello up there. As you can see, there is a very clear way that I can go from here. See, okay, you can do something really silly if you want to. Okay, you know how you can trap players, get them in really silly situations? You could do the same with piglin brutes. But what I recommend doing, if you are going to be exploring a bastion after you've already had encounters, is just walk away a really far way and then come back. Piglins forget when you walk away from them, just like most people if I'm being honest. And so you could do that and it will help you out a lot. But I'm just going to play things a little bit skin of my teeth right now. I do have a totem, so I'm not like, you know, super worried. But ultimately, it's just all about make sure piglin brutes can't get within melee range because they always are meleeable. And then if you do find a piglin brute, you can just burn him alive if you have lava. Or if you don't, just trap him in a box. Like right now, he can never leave that place. And so he's basically a non-issue. If you worry about looking at him, then you just have to cover it up. Piglin brute's gone. I mean, I hate to go all peekaboo lore on you, but like, if you can't see something, then do you need to worry about it? Anyway, so you might be saying to yourself, like, Toycat, did you say don't open any chests? But don't I need to open the chests if I want to get smithing templates? Isn't that like a requirement? And the answer is yes. But there is a secret. If you break the chest, no, they'll still attack you. So basically what you want to do is only open the chests once you have a hidey spot. In the case of this bastion, I'll make it like this place right here. A little hidey spot could be me going in here and placing a block behind me. Or even if you just run into a long enough corridor, it's really easy to fight mobs one-on-one in a hallway in a way that it's not when it's super wide open like this. So I'm going to open this chest now and, ooh, a block of gold and a lodestone. Oh, lodestones were valuable when this first generated, but now that is just a pile of garbage. Well, I mean, it's still worth an iron ingot. But otherwise, this is one of the chests. There are a couple of others for this structure. Although I think it has the fewest chests, right? A fun fact about me is I actually destroyed a bastion in my world, and it happened to be a bridge bastion like this one, so I'm pretty sure I actually know where the extra chests are. There's like an area to the left of this main area here, if you're looking out towards the bridge. I just went and confirmed it was a Bastion Bridges that I destroyed all the way back in 2020, Fun fact, because I uploaded it as one giant video and it was 14 hours, and now you can't upload videos that long, I have one of the few videos on YouTube that is over 12 hours. But anyway, the point is that I destroyed the entire structure, and I remember that because of that, there are just 3 chests, one of which is found on each side of this one. So this is the easy chest, and it's not even that easy if we're being honest. It's a real maze in here, but one of them is going to be found to the right over here. So if we go through this and to the right and then down and around, we should eventually find it if we just follow and... So this is actually quite wrong. We want to go even further this way, but just basically you want to mine onto each side of this until you find either some stuff like this, or you find some tunnels, which are actually really useful in their own way, because these tunnels are going to contain the, oh yeah, look at that, the gilded blackstone that I'm looking for. But crucially, yeah, you can just go mining through here if yours is covered. If yours isn't covered, just look to the left and right, and eventually it should take you out where a chest is. Although I'm learning that my knowledge is incorrect. I'm learning my knowledge is correct. You should trust me all the time. Look at that. A second chest with netherite scrap and also some gold boots. So there's another chest just to the right. Please don't make me prove it and then doubt myself and then prove that I'm right again. Instead, what I'll say is, what happens if you go to... Oh, he had my gilded blackstone. Thank God I killed him. So what happens if you go to a bastion and you don't get what you're looking for? In my case, I've got 7 gilded blackstone, but I need a bit more. I could go digging down to the underneath of mine, because there are huge tunnels below almost every bastion, besides the stables. So one of the answers is you can go down below here, and you could go mining and find this. But if you're looking specifically for netherite templates, you can't find that in the tunnels down here. Although, yeah, look how much I'm getting. Again, pro tip, always mine this with silk touch. If you don't, you've got a chance of losing it and getting gold ingots instead. Or not even gold ingots, gold nuggets. You don't want to do that. Get yourself a silk touch pickaxe and you can get Minecraft's most beautiful block. But if, like me, you're not just looking for Minecraft's beautiful block, but you're also trying to look for other stuff, well, I would recommend that you just go mining for a second bastion. There are 4 types of bastion, and we lucked into the worst one, so I'm going to mine between, again, 40 and 70. You could go a little bit higher, but there's a risk in that. Just keep mining, and do keep an eye out in front of you, because I think given that we're in a big netherrack box, the odds of us ending up in lava up high. Oh, yeah. There we are. And at this point, I would say it's probably best to, like, go down to the ground over there, rather than make it... Oh, no, never mind. What? Okay, the whole point of bastions is they're meant to be separate. They can never be separated by less than 64 blocks. This has gotta be... Oh, it's pushing, like, the edges of how close together 2 bastions can be. Again, if we look at our graph from earlier with the green and the red areas, you can only get 1 bastion per green area, but if one is all the way at the edge of its, and one is all the way at the edge of its, in just the right way, as is very unlikely on Bedrock, you can get 2 bastions, and so for me, that means a second source of gilded blackstone. And again, same rules apply here, but also I'll point out that because this is the, I think it's called the Hoglin farm, because this is the, it's one that has more hoglins. If it's really, really short like this, it will contain more hoglins. It will be much shorter. As you can see, I wouldn't have found this if I was at Y90 near the ceiling and I wasn't looking down. But yeah, basically, these are the crucial things to know about this one. For what it's worth, there is also a piglin bastion. Okay, I am going to pretend that didn't happen. I was fully like, well, I'm about to go back home now anyway, so I'll just ignore all my safety advice. Pro tip, don't be doing that. But also pro tip, if you do, how do you get out of a situation like this? Genuinely tricky question. Here's my tricky answer. While you've got fire resistance, it's important to move the fastest. Although I still do want some gilded blackstone, so maybe if I just bridge up, cover up all this lava, and remove my risk of death, then I should be good to mine it. Okay, I got myself out of a very dodgy situation. If you want to see how, here's my lovely pathway. I don't know why I made it 2 blocks. I guess I was scared about crossbows hitting me. But anyway, I'm going to now be playing for keeps with no totem. I really, really want to. A part of me says, just use the Riptide Trident and launch yourself up there. But that's not what we'll do. Instead, I'll show you how me, with literally a guarantee... Oh yeah, look at this. Ruined portal, by the way. Not going to find any templates in there. But with me, with a guarantee that I'm dead if I get this wrong, let me show you how I would do this. Because this might seem insane, but genuinely you just have to remember, blocks are your friend. In the Nether, you have to know what range attacks might get you. That's a blaze when you're at Nether Fortress, a ghast anywhere in the Nether, and when you're near a bastion, or, you know, particularly when you're angering a bastion, it might also be a piglin. But if you're not angering a bastion, as indeed right now I'm not, all you need to worry about is melee attacks and ghasts in theory. But we're going to pretend there's no ghasts. So let's worry about melee attacks. And so all we need to think about is there a piglin brute up there? There is actually a piglin brute up here. Jeez. Right. Oh, he was the guy that knocked me off in the first place, wasn't he? Oh, almost let him do it again. So let me show you the simple technique to dealing with this guy if you can't lock him in a box. If he's belligerently coming at you, actually, we could take advantage of the fact that he's coming at me and just make a stack that's like 3 high. And then he won't be able to get me no matter what he tries. There we go. So then all we have to do is... Oh. Yeah, I've never tried this technique before, but... He's gone. And now, how are we going to get our chests? So we could do the same down there, where there is a good 3 or 4 chests. But I also say that if you do find one of these Hoglin Farm bastions, very short, they've got some of the easiest accessible chests in Minecraft. They're right up here, and oh, gilded blackstone, and I don't care what else is in there. This unbreaking sword, though, sure is tempting. So yeah, we can come up here, and we can get very easy access. I'm still going to be cautious of another piglin brute hiding in one of these corners. But for now, you should know that the top of this bastion has 3 types. It really is amazing. I've always been a believer in burning them alive with lava, but today I'm hey, smithing template. Wow. Okay, so there you go. If you wanted this, that's how you get it. There's one crucial thing you also have to keep in mind. If you do find one of these, it is literally the difference between having to do this again and not. But first, let's see how much more blackstone I can find around the place. I have made it back home safely. Now, I can say very easily, thanks to the fact that getting home was really easy, I just followed my path backwards. If you were unlucky, or if you want to find more bastions, you can simply branch mine, but to the left and right, like you did before. I will say that if you do this enough, you will need to know about the specific zones to avoid, which is take 0 to -64 and don't go in these red zones, but also take these coordinates and add 64 to them or multiply them. You can work out where you shouldn't be mining, but if you keep going in a straight line, eventually you should find something good if you're not specifically in those red zones, which is why you go to the left and right a little bit. But with that said, there was one critical thing that I said you needed to do, and let me show you what it is. When you get yourself this smithing template, this netherite template, make sure you duplicate a copy before you use it. And not just because you probably want 2 copies, that's probably handy too, but also critically because of the fact that if you have a copy, you'll never need to go back to a bastion. And so if you hated that experience, if like me, you ended up having a terrible time out there, then you can simply say to yourself, yep, oh, wow, he is laying himself in today. Pro tip, by the way, I've been every single time he comes by, I do buy his wood trade. I found that to be genuinely worthwhile for me, and so that's exactly what we're going to do. Hello, glad you're enjoying yourself in here, but thank you for that mangrove log trade. Anyway, so with that said, now I'm here to finish the thing that started this video, because finding bastions is important, but you know what's far more important? Minecraft building. Well, it's not one of the 2 things that the name is about. Arguably, mining for bastions and crafting templates is the most important, but if, like me, you know, you love a quirky build, and you like to use rare blocks, well then you're definitely like me. So what we're going to do is we're finally going to finish this up. Well, I say that, yeah, I think that, honestly, the more Minecraft I play, the more I come to appreciate that there are some blocks that I think are better because they're non-renewable. So many people hear about, you know, blackstone not being renewable and say, well, that's stupid. Surely it should be. Or sorry, gilded blackstone being non-renewable. And the same is true for sand or for TNT. There's a lot of people who just say like, oh yeah, I really like stuff being renewable. Surely everything should be. But I'm going to give you the opposite stance right now. I'm going to say that I think that not everything should be renewable in Minecraft, because actually, you'll sometimes... I'm just going to drop these to pick up crimson vines, as insane as that feels. I think that sometimes you need to appreciate that Minecraft is not a game that is exclusively about farming. It's not a Factorio clone or whatever else. It is a game that is actually much more about the exploration journey than you might think. And indeed, the only reason that, like, I think going out to Bastions for the fun treasure side of things is great. But it's also fun to have weird blocks that you can only use in finite amounts. I would even go a step further and put on my boomer hat, if you allow me. I'm going to put on my boomer hat for a second and say that actually I might go a step further and say that I think that the weird chiseled stone block should have stayed non-renewable too. There should be some things that you have to go out into the world for. But that's my controversial opinion, because if this video has helped you, thank you for watching through it. If you would like to learn about more things that might help you, you can check out more episodes of this Updated Adventures Let's Play, or the Ultimate Guide if you want to see a more structured, less survival and less totem-breaking experience. But for now, I hope you all enjoyed, because I'll see you all next time. Also, now that I've got Enchantment Table Tree, I've got Spore Blossom Tree, and I've obviously got Diamond Tree to go with my Gilded Blackstone Tree, what should my last 2 mushrooms be made out of? Because at this point, you know, I feel like tree doesn't make any sense at all. So let me know. Oh, wait. No, we're good. Let me know in the comments down below. Or don't. It's your life. Do what you want with it, man. Have a good day. Bye. I don't have a totem. Oh, no.